GenRight Nation. It is November 8th, 2023. Man, the year is flying by. If you're watching us live, thank you. We appreciate that. We do this every Wednesday, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on both YouTube and Facebook. So today, obviously, Jeff's here, and actually there's a few other people here, and we'll introduce them in a second. This show is primarily about helping you try to do things right the first time. And,
this show is
I'm
primarily
really just sharing my experience. So you guys can take it or leave it. I totally get it. You don't have to do it my way. You can do it however you want. If you like what we're doing, please turn on your notifications and subscribe. Let's see. If you missed our last Tech Talk, you can always go back and watch it. YouTube's the easiest to do that. And let's see. Jen, who we got watching so far?
Jeff Lone says, howdy y'all, how are you doing tonight?
Nice.
Robert Wheeler's watching. Bo Fisher, what's up from Winter Park, Florida?
Wow.
Rick Harrington is watching.
Big Rick.
Ariel Monet, hi everyone.
Ari, all right.
Todd Shepard Sr., hey Tony, are you all set for Turkey Ride?
We're going to talk about that in a minute.
Mark Lawrence says, hello GenRight team.
Hey,
Heath
Mark.
Ironside says, hello GenRight.
Heath, yeah, how's that Jeep build coming?
Richard Jazlowski says, hi Tony and the GenRight team.
Rich.
Ed Gladden Jr. says, okay, let's get it done. Jeffrey Rorta, hello. David Mork. Alex Israel, hey guys. Marie Weber, hi Nana.
Hey, Nana.
And all of our usual YouTubers, Kathy McCavis, Two Feather Channel, Terry RTL, Blacksmith Crew, they're all saying hi and they're pumped for another Tech Talk.
Nice, nice. Okay. Well, as always, if I can get this thing to turn, we welcome your questions and comments. Did I blow by that? No, I guess it's out of order. We'll go by it. Just type in a comment, and Jen will read those off to us. And Jeff's actually going to kind of take the lead tonight because I'm working on projects. So I'm just going to, as you guys fire in questions, I'll stop and answer them. Include as much information as you can so that I can do my best job answering them for you.
Mm-hmm. Any question. You can ask about ORIs, you can ask about Angry Grills, whatever you want. Any question.
Kevin Marchand already asked, is the WJ knuckle swap worth the cost on a TJ?
You can also do the TerraFlex one. It's kind of the same. It really helps get the steering up. You can flip the tie rod, and go to Heims, flip it up to the other side, and then your drag link is higher. By the way, don't forget, you do need to move your track bar mount, because if those don't match with the drag link, you're going to get some nasty bump steer. So I think it's worth it. Getting the steering up out of the way is definitely the call for sure.
Cameron Harris is watching.
Right,
Andrew says, hi, Jeff.
Hi, Andrew.
Tom Nagley's watching from Texas.
Nice.
And we have Ari asked, when is Tony switching to ORIs and an Angry Grill? Very soon, very soon.
I can tell you that. All right. Zoom in on the screen here.
Oh, real question. Bo
Okay.
Fisher, single action tire carrier versus the GenRight style. Is one type better than the other? 2015 JK.
Yeah, so what happens is the standard tire carrier that everybody made for years that had one pivot and one latch, eventually they break off. And what they kept doing was they kept increasing the size of the spindle over on the passenger side. But I'm telling you, it's so much weight. And after, I don't know what it is, a million cycles of bouncing down a washboard road, they just break off. Or they come open on you and whip around and get the side of your vehicle. Yep. So the way we do it is guaranteed not to open, guaranteed not to rattle. It's really the best way. Again, it's happened to me. That's why I developed what we have today.
Yeah.
So.
And even more so, you back into a tree with the otone, it's just bending straight into your tub.
Yeah.
Ask me how my tub's bent.
Same way, huh?
Well, that's one of the reasons.
Mako Patrol asked, 2006 LJ JKUR axles, 16 in front, 14-inch rear coilovers. Question, is rear sway bar only, is that enough?
If you do ours. So ours is 30% stiffer to make up for not having a front. And depending on if it's really set up right, like Terremoto, you don't even need a sway bar at all. But that might take you some work to get there and get that figured out, because it's a combination of spring rates and shock placement and a lot of different things. So.
Okay, and then Crawler Kingdom says, any question? Ramjet 350 in a CJ7 has SM465 and switching to a TH400. What recommendation on trans cooler? Any opinion on cooling pans that have the tubes through them?
So the pan, don't mess with that, other than if you can go with an extra capacity. That's the only thing I do. On all of our builds, we do not fit because we run the flattest belly we can. We can't get that extra capacity. Just run the stock one. But if you want extra fluid in the system, you put a nice cooler on there like the Griffin, and they make two sizes. They make the 12 by 12 or the 20 by 20. Both have a fan on them, and that puts a couple extra quarts of fluid in the system, and that's a great way to do it. Then you're adding cooling and extra fluid. So great choice, by the way, by going with that. I would, if you're doing a lot of crawling, mess with the, let's see what I'm looking for, the stall on your torque converter. And, we typically run a little bit higher stall, and you can, definitely work with that, and I think you'll be really happy. So.
Paul Fields has a 2023 JL 4xe. What is a good lift kit?
Ooh, what did Jordan Jackson have in hers? Do you remember?
No. Did she have ours?
I don't know if she did or not. I think the couple that I know of are out there is probably Rock Jock and maybe Rock Crawler.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are probably. I'd talk to those companies for sure and see what they have.
Okay, Randy Ains said 2018 JKU 3.6 on UD60s 315 gear. Is it worth the experience to re-gear to 538 or just tune the engine?
What size tire?
He didn't say.
That's the trick. If you're going 37 or bigger, you need to be on 538.
So it's 40-inch tires.
Okay, so you need to be on 538. What it's going to do is it's going to make all the gears in the transmission seem lower, and that's really what you want. You want to put that final drive out at the axle. I mean, if they made a 6.0, I'd tell you to go to a 6.0. But in the Dana world, it's going to be a 538. And that's what we run in everything, and that's definitely the way to go.
And then the Blacksmith Crew is 2012 JKU. Says, I'm being a scaredy cat about going to a GenRight dash and ripping everything out. Want to keep the AC and power windows. Does Terremoto have a custom body harness with the motor harness?
Yes, I do. But here's the deal. I've seen customers do our aluminum dash, and they retain the knobs for the factory heat and air. I've also seen them use the factory steering column again. You can definitely fit in that. We kind of sell that as a builder's kit. That's why it's blank, and people have adapted all kinds of stuff in there and really kept the items they wanted, or ditched it all together. So for a while I had the vintage air in there, and now since then I've kind of stripped that out over the years. I don't run a top, so there's no need for it.
Jim Smith asks, is the Yukon free spin kit a worthy mod to my Dana 30 1990 YJ if I use a lunchbox locker in the front axle?
Well, that isn't like what I call an emergency or very temporary fix. That is not a long-term fix. You really want to go with some of the other lockers that Yukon offers, like I did in this. Right, I put one of their air lockers in here, and what they call a zip locker, and it works great. So
ready? More?
Jeez,
Jeff Holland
we're
asked.
not even getting to what I want to talk about.
Jeff Holland, 2013 JKU 2.5-inch 14-inch coilovers. The Foxes appear to be 2.5 inch shorter when extended. Any reason to go with one over the other?
Okay, so you guys need to understand, inside the shop, the reason why some are shorter than others is it has to do with what they call the overlap in here. So if all this spring stuff was on here, and I'm looking at the body, the silver part, there's a bearing right here at the end. Some companies want a longer bearing that gives this whole thing more support so that this lower shaft can't walk. And some companies cut it way down so you get the maximum amount of travel. So the different brands, that's the difference in all the different brands. Some people insist on more overlap. Some people are willing to kind of cheat that window a little bit more. So very important that you guys understand what that is. That's all it is. Otherwise, if it's a 14-inch travel shock, it's got to have a 14-inch travel shaft. Okay.
Okay, Myrna asked, how do I order those axles with free lock 5 nuts?
The what?
Axles with free lock 5 nuts?
The 3 what?
Free lock 5 nuts. I don't know what that means.
A stumper question.
It must just be a typo.
Hi, Josh Nesser.
Josh.
Okay. Paul, no Rubicon. Can we run 37s on the 4xe?
So that Jordan Jackson was doing that. And I know she was fighting with, they don't really have any way to tune it, right? To change the tire size. And, honestly, you're kind of fighting an uphill battle with that vehicle. I know it's fun and everything, but if you really want to start modifying one, that's not the one. So I'm just being honest with you.
She sold it back. She had to sell it back to the
Oh, right, yeah. So,
Our friend Jeremy Duper has a question. What's the best time to use when using the GenRight twisted pitman arm?
FK. So I think I got one over here. We use the genuine FKs. This is a smaller version right here. But these are a 4340 chromoly heat treated body with a hardened race inside. And we use a 7/8 shank and a 3/4 bore. And that's the good stuff. Okay.
Okay. Blacksmith Crew asks, what are your thoughts on back half kits coming out for the JKU platform?
I mean, depending on what you're doing, if you don't care about mounting a gas tank underneath anymore, I still prefer to do that because it keeps the center of gravity low. Your gas tank is full of fuel, is very heavy. You're talking about hundreds of pounds. And moving 100 or a couple hundred pounds up to the inside in the cargo area is not something I would do. I want that CG as low as possible. And if you ever get a chance to ride in one of my Jeeps like Terremoto, you can feel the difference. So
Yeah, and there's really no reason to.
I wouldn't. I don't want that fuel up there with me.
No.
So
Yeah, and you can get the good suspension geometry without doing it. With our system.
We do,
So yeah.
So.
Jim Smith asked, oh, I just lost it. Oh, is the Yukon free spin kit? Oh, no, I already asked that. Sorry. Kevin K, speaking of higher stall torque converters, are changes to the stall a purely mechanical function, or is there any tunability via TCM? Speaking specifically of the 8 horsepower 70 or 8 HP 7.5.
So what happens with the torque converter is this. I don't want to scare people because in years past, what would happen is they would say, oh, I'm doing a 4,000, 5,000 stall. Well, that's not like you rev the motor up and dump the clutch. The torque converter still, there's another component inside the torque converter called the stator unit. And I guess sometime what I should do is get a cut in half torque converter and talk about all this stuff and show people what's inside. But, and I'm sure TCI would be happy to send us one if Mark's watching.
Yeah.
Anyways, that higher stall, what it does is it lets your engine build up in RPM and horsepower before it's really more locking up. It doesn't require lockup. It just has to more lock up to give you the propulsion that you want. I run a 4,000 stall. Jordan runs a 5,000 in the race car. A lot of people run lower. They run, 2,500 or 3,500. And those are the guys that are driving through their brakes, right? Because you just breathe on that gas pedal and it's driving through. The other thing that happens is that locks up. So there's no cushioning in the driveline anymore. So the higher stall actually keeps, especially all the desert driving we do, where you're just beating across the desert. But maybe where you are, you're going across the rocks, and all that transfers right into the transmission and everything in your drive line. So we're always trying to cushion that and kind of soften that up with a higher stall torque converter. And as long as you have a cooler, you're fine. If you want to run no cooler at all, then you got to be down at like 2,500.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd recommend that
I
either.
would
No. No, you want to...
No, again, if you ride in one of our Jeeps, I'll tell you a story. Last year's turkey run, I think you drove my Jeep for like a
Terremoto?
day.
Yeah.
And he came back and he's like, holy cow, now I see what you're talking about. Like it made a big difference. Just him seeing, how that really works and how you can drive it. So.
Yeah, that was one of the two things that stood out. That and the full manual brakes. In the rocks.
Yes.
It's just so cool.
So nice.
Feels great. Speaking of that, somebody asked if anybody in the GenRight crew is running cutting brakes.
I know Jordan plans to, but no, we don't. There's a couple things with cutting brakes. One is you have to have a selectable locker. Not all of us have that. Two, bleeding your brakes is a real bear. So just know going into it that you may have some air in the system and you might fight that for. I know people that give up and just take them out. So it's not easy.
Bo Fisher asked, do you offer the GenRight tire carrier but with shorty tub armor?
No, we stopped doing the shorty tub armor like 10 years ago. So what were you going to say about the cutting brake? You don't really need it.
I mean, once you get an Atlas, it becomes way less important.
Yeah.
And it's way easier just to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, Myrna said locking hub 5-nut, same in your Jeep. That earlier question.
Locking hub?
Like where do they
What
get
about
the
locking
axles?
hubs?
Where I think she was asking where to get the axles with that setup.
Hey Tony, question. How do I order those axles with free lock 5-nuts?
The locking hubs.
Locking hubs. Okay, so are we talking about just the shafts or the whole housing? Is that? That's our Curries come that way.
Yeah, I mean our spec axle comes with the lockouts.
Yes, yeah. Everything we do, the locking hubs. If you don't have locking hubs, it's kind of like an Atlas. You don't even know what you're missing. Like all of these things that you see on our Jeeps, guys and gals, there's no mistake. None of that is just by chance. Every single thing is for an absolute solid reason.
So how can they order one like you have in your Jeep?
Yeah, they just call in and talk to one of the guys and order them up.
Call in.
Yep. That's probably a little big for an internet purchase.
Jeff Holland said, just to clarify my question, Kings are 35 inches extended and the Fox are 37.6 inches extended. Does that change anything?
Yeah, it's going to change your bump position.
It'll change the bump position.
Yeah, that's all it changes.
But why is the same reason you explain.
Yes.
So a
Yeah.
lot of shocks, different companies, different series of shocks, they'll have a different collapsed and extended length based on the explanation Tony gave. about
Yeah,
that
and
thing.
it's different. If you use a ADS or a Radflow or a Bilstein or a Fox or a King, they're all different. Not a single one of them is the same.
Even the 3 Kings we carry are different,
different.
between regular
Yes,
with
and
clicker
IVP.
and IVP.
Yes,
So
yes. So, yeah, there's always something different going on inside, and that's how they do it.
yeah.
Cody Erickson asked, how are Baja Boss X's holding up compared to their DOT model?
I'm running around with 600 horsepower, and I tear them up pretty good, but, considering what I'm doing, I think they hold up great.
They hold up great. I mean, we've been running them for how long?
Yeah, years now. This will be our 4th year.
They hold up great. I mean, they get a little more, I don't know, grooved out when we're trying to go across the desert at 80 miles an hour, but
Yeah.
they're kind of designed for that.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
JJ asked, what gear ratio would you recommend for a Hellcat swap, going with a 60-80 true track in the rear?
Well, again, the ratio depends on the tire size. So if you're going to be on a 37, then 513. If you're going to be on a 40, it's 538.
Okay, J Kidstown asked, what are your thoughts on the Yukon spin-free hubs?
They're great. Yeah, all that, everything that Yukon's got, we've used, and I'm using a bunch of it on this, so it all works fine.
Okay, Crawler Kingdom asks, opinion on drive flange over selectable hubs?
So there's times when you just don't want the drive line rolling. So I'll give you an example. Many areas that you go to, like I was just back at Windrock, where we got off the trail and we had to drive on the highway for a long way to get back to where the trailer was. And, you know, if you've got a bent front drive line and yet that drive shaft's whipping in there, you know, it'd be really nice to just disengage that, and now you don't have anything rolling. So, you know, the flanges, drive flanges are great and they're simple, but that's the downside. So, and don't get me wrong, you know, if you're really in a bind, you can take that drive flange off, right, and still run, but it's not as easy as just turning the hub. So, and the hubs also provide like a fuse, right? So
They are fusible link.
you know, that way if something really goes wrong, that's going to break first before you break an axle or ring and pinion,
Which is nice.
which is nice.
Terry Runyon asked, what's the stall speed on a factory 2018 JKU?
Oh, I don't know. I don't. It's low though. It's low. I could look that up and reply to the string.
Trey Morrow, are you guys coming to the Texas Spur Jeep Jamboree?
That is not on our list for this next year.
That's a conflicts with another event we have scheduled
so, yeah.
next year.
Yeah.
Dennis Sargent, random question. Tony, I found a video on my computer of you at the TDS back in 2011. Quiz question is, what color was the Growler and who was riding it in the back seat? Hint, you were on the rock garden. Do you know?
I don't know who that is. Was that the question? Who is
The
that?
color is what color was the Growler and who was riding in the back seat?
Oh, the Growler would have been black, and it would have been Jamie riding in the back seat.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Now we didn't know if that's right.
Yeah, let us know, Dennis. Rob Skaggs Curry is now doing gears. Do you know if they are American made?
I know that that's their preference is American made. So, but a lot of the, you know, during COVID, a lot of the American made gear manufacturers closed down, and some of them never opened up again. So, it's kind of a problem.
Are we going to Jeep Beach or Easter Jeep Safari?
Jeep Beach.
Jeep Beach.
I can tell you right now, we will not be at Easter Jeep Safari.
Alex Israel asks, do the best top uppers fit the aluminum half doors?
He's got a JKU.
That's a good question.
On a Jeep,
They're like square.
Yes, that's correct. The color and Jamie.
Yeah, the posts on the best top uppers are kind of like rectangular because
Is it-
I've got
is that
them
for
on
the-
that other Jeep.
oh,
So, not that you couldn't, you know, figure out a way to Dremel that
yeah.
hole in there.
Are you going to TDS?
You can make it work, Alex.
Yeah, right? We should
I'm
be going
not sure about TDS.
Not sure, okay.
Yeah, the beginning of the year packs in a lot of things around King of the Hammers. So we try and make as much of that stuff as we can. But
Okay, Granite Wheeler asked, what are your thoughts on RCVs? 2013 JKU with 40s and tons.
okay, RCVs are great. American made, 300M. Like you're going to get everything you want there. They're very consistent. You know, as you turn, where a U joint kind of has this over center kind of a motion. I've run RCVs on all my race cars forever.
Yeah, and we both have a set we need time to put in.
I know,
So-
yeah. So we're gonna, in a minute, we're gonna spin around and show you where I'm at on other projects here. But yeah,
We should do that now.
can we do it now? Well,
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about Turkey Run.
We'll talk about Turkey
Let's
Run.
bump Turkey Run for a minute.
Okay.
What did I do with
We do have a few more questions still.
it? Okay, that's fine.
We'll come back to them.
Okay.
Depending on what you have or don't have going on for Thanksgiving, we go out to the Hammers, which is also Johnson Valley, the week before Thanksgiving, which is November 18th, so 10 days from now. We've done this for 10 years, the Turkey Run, and it is super fun. This is, a lot of you know Marie Weber, my mom. We also call her GenRight Nana, and that's Jordan's co-driver, Gunner.
Gun shoe.
And we always have a huge campfire. I'm going to show you in just a second here. A lot of the manufacturers come out while we're out there, which is really cool. We're out on the trail. we'll do some customer seminars and stuff. Sometimes we're doing shock tuning and stuff with our customers, giving race car rides.
Zoe!
Dogs are welcome.
Friendly dogs are welcome.
Friendly dogs, yeah. Okay, so this is one of the shots I want to show you, not necessarily Alan and I, but I bring out, it's at least 2 cords and sometimes as much as 4 cords of firewood.
Oh yeah, check
So
that out.
we make a big fire. And this right here, this little rock pile, is the beginning of a little guy rock crawler race course.
Yep.
So we always do that around the campfire, so that's pretty fun. And last year I brought both Jeeps, which was pretty cool. And this is typical camp, right? So over this way is back door, over this way is turkey claw, and then you can see our big pile of firewood that we're working on there. And we've got, there's Josh's JL, here's Ari's JL, there's the Growler. We get a wide variety. There's a buggy over there. We get a wide variety of vehicles that come out. So, I don't want anybody to be scared off. There's something for everybody. This is a Fisher Mountain, which is a pretty mellow trail. Pretty much anybody could make it. And even Jordan had his race car out there.
Yeah, even the race car made it.
Yep, and we were cruising. It was kind of an end day run. It was fun. And this is once we took off. You can see the Jeeps running down the trail. And this is the desert floor down here. The Hammertown and our camp is right over this way. And then again, the campfire. We have music. Everybody's socializing around the fire. It's just really fun to sit there and chat. On Thanksgiving Day, I cook turkeys inside here, and this is part of the fun. We deep fry some turkeys, we smoke some turkeys, and then I do some in the barrel over on the fire. So pretty fun. We just do a bunch of different stuff, and then we have ham and some other stuff. It's a potluck. So here's Clay Childers from Texas. He brought. This was something really good. I can't remember.
Is it like cobbler?
Cobbler. That's what it was.
Blueberry cobbler.
It was really
very
good. So, did you have some of it last year? Yeah.
Yes, I did. Twice.
Josh here carving some turkeys. And, again, you can see our big pile of firewood, and
That's the perfect shirt for Josh.
it is the perfect shirt.
What's it say?
In my defense, I was left on Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, that is
You should get
perfect.
that tattoo,
Yeah.
Josh.
So we do a big potluck dinner, so it's really fun, and everybody participates. So that's cool. There's
Shasta.
Shasta's plate.
Shastinator.
Yeah.
Nice plate.
So you can always find her around the fire. And again, everybody lined up for a Jeep run. I think we were headed over to Turkey Claw this time. Here's Tom Murky. This is the very first TJ to LJ conversion we did.
He named it, half-breed?
Half-breed.
But apparently he's changing it.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's coming out again.
Yeah.
He'll be here this year, too. So that'll be cool. And this is Turkey Claw. So our camp is right over here. You can see a few other camps, and that's the dry lake bed way over there. So Turkey Claw is fairly close to camp. And this is a great trail if you don't have a lot of experience to go get experience on. You're not far from camp. You can run it forwards, backwards, sideways, and just get a bunch of seat time in. And we go up and we'll spot you through and help you out. So
Anthony Chevalier says, my kind of tech talk when we got food pics. He always asks what's for dinner.
yeah, I know.
Ham and potatoes tonight.
Okay, so that's all the pictures we had. Okay, so let's spin around. Is that what you want
It
to do?
says we need to bring Turkey Run somewhere around Missouri. Terry, Turkey Run is at Hammers every year.
Every year.
The location cannot be changed.
Yeah. So, okay. So, a lot of you probably saw the tech talk where we were changing the cam in this. And since I had the whole thing apart, I decided to clean the injectors. Obviously, it needs a new air filter. But I had the whole front off. So, while I had the front off, I changed the tensioner. I put on a brand new power steering pump. I put in a new steering box. And then I'm trying one of these new Radial Dynamics reservoirs, which involves plumbing a little filter in here. So I've got some adapting that I'm doing. But the idea behind this reservoir is that the fluid is coming in and circling around, much like a dry sump oil system, for an engine. So I like that idea. It's got some built-in baffles. This is the return line to the pump, so I've got nice fall, what they call fall, and then my coolers are all in the grill, so I'll put the grill back in. I also installed a brand new radiator, so I'm just in the process of putting this all back together. Then I got to run it over to the dyno, and then we'll be out of turkey run. So I got to button it up pretty quick here.
Yeah, you're close.
I figured we might get a lot of questions if we started showing engines and talking about this stuff.
1-800 tow you out says can't wait for the turkey run.
Yeah, I know Jeff and I, even Jamie, like all of us are really looking forward to getting back out to the hammers.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
This is like the longest it's been since
for
I've
us.
moved here, 3-4 years ago.
And it's our favorite place. It just, there's nothing else like it.
Question. Do you sell the 5x5.5 free spin lock kit to fit the JLUR Dana 44 M210 axles?
So we don't sell it, but that is something that I'm pretty sure Yukon has. So definitely check that out. Warren used to make it, and I sold that, but they don't anymore. I think actually Yukon bought all the Warren stuff, so that would be the place to go.
Let's see. 2012 JKU, 2 or 4-speed Atlas with an LS LT.
Well, so I only do the 2-speed, especially with an automatic. The torque converter makes up for everything. The only guys I know running the 4-speed are the manual stick shift guys. Any thoughts on that?
You really only need the 2. Even when we're wheeling with the manual guys, I have to yell at them and tell them to put it into
In a
and
higher gear,
and we call it not Toyota low because it's like watching paint dry.
Yeah, it's really slow.
That was a shout out to Arnold.
And by the time you get on 37s and certainly 40s, like you don't need to go that slow anymore. A lot of that is ingrained in your mind because you're used to wheeling on 33s or 35s where you're like everything you drop off you bang, so you want to go a little slower. Well, those days are gone. Once
You actually get in a rhythm and just keep going.
Yeah.
Jim Smith said 1990 YJ, is the Yukon free spin locking hubs on a Dana 30 a worthy upgrade if using an Eaton e-locker on my Dana 30?
It's an additional expense, and it makes it 3/4 of an inch wider on each side. So I opted not to do it. Mine's an 89, and I just went with the chromoly one-piece axles and did the zip locker. So that's really all you need. But you do have to do a CV front drive shaft.
And Brad Burney asked, any tips for clearancing TJ boat side rockers where they meet up with your fenders?
You just hack it with a Sawzall, right that corner. I think the newer ones are shorter. We've actually shortened them, so you don't have to do that. And now it comes with a little plate. Yep. But
if you got the older one, just draw a line and cut.
Yep.
Is the race car going to be out for turkey run?
It is. So that was one of the things I wanted to mention. Not only do we have a giant campfire, we do a happy hour every night. We try and get back by 4 o'clock. We get the fire going. We got music. Jordan will have the race car there. As long as it's running, you can, and you're able, you're like small enough and physically fit and flexible enough to get in the car, you could probably get a ride.
There's not a lot of room in there, though.
There's not a lot of room. Like most people.
Like I am probably max size to get in there.
Yeah.
And my knees are touching.
Yeah. So, but if you can get a ride, it will be a ride that you will never forget. I can tell you that. So.
Jeremy Crumbly asked, what happens if someone can make turkey run at the last minute?
Come.
Well,
Yeah.
That's half the people there.
Well, and it's part of the reason I'm talking about it right now. We have a sign-up form over on the website if you want to be part of the potluck. And I ask you to sign up even if you're last minute because I'd like to know that you're coming. It's how we park everybody. The group gets pretty big. But I encourage anybody, whether you can come for a day or a couple of days or the whole time, like that's why we do it the weekend before and the weekend after. So some people can only come the weekend before Some people can only come midweek, and some people can only come after Thanksgiving. So just come whenever you can. We wheel 2 trails a day, every day, and except for Thanksgiving itself. Some of the guys go out, but we don't go out because we're cooking. So yeah, it is one of the best times
so
to
much
be out
fun.
at the Hammers. Yeah, if you ever come during King of the Hammers, you can't do anything. Everything's closed off. But this time during Thanksgiving, the weather's nice and you can get a lot of wheeling in.
All the Terrys won't fit in the race car, they're saying.
Who's that?
All the
Terremoto,
Terrys.
Terrarian said they won't fit in the race.
Neither of them.
Not unless they run there.
It's
Okay,
tight.
we have a question. The blacksmith crew, is there anywhere we can find engine bay close-ups of Terremoto? I didn't see them on the GenRight website.
There should be in the
are
gallery. There's at least a shot like this. Are they looking for something in particular? Like we can
Not
zoom
sure.
in right now.
Yeah. Julio from Denver just got a 2012 Wrangler Rubicon 2-door 6-speed. Does this 4x4 have potential? First timer here.
You're back to the manual transmission. It's going to get you out there. I mean, I just took my '89 YJ with a 5-speed out. and
You could
ran
have
the
lots of
Rubicon.
fun with that Jeep.
So,
If it's got 4-wheel drive, it's got potential.
Yeah,
potential.
lots of potential.
so
Kevin Cavallo asked, will Tracer axle side brackets work with the Legend frame side brackets? I really like the packaging on the Tracer stuff. But I already have the Legend and swapping axles soon.
man, it's
I would, if you're going to swap, I would swap frame side and axle side,
yeah.
not just one or the other, because
Yeah.
then you're changing with lengths and different geometry.
Yeah.
He says, interested in how brakes are routed and the firewall on Terremoto.
On Terremoto, yeah. So, and that round can right next to it is a catch can for the engine, right? So that's basically a breather. And what happens is per the rules for racing, you're required that if you flip over, no fluids hit the ground. So what happens is that can fill up, but then it returns all the oil back to the engine through the valve covers. And then I run manual brakes. So I've removed all the power assist on the braking. You don't need it. And what's funny is I have the R1 big brake kit on here, right? So this is a 6-piston with a 14-inch rotor. This is the exact same kit we sell to everybody with power assist. And but you can lock up these 40s, even sticky 40s on the pavement with these brakes manually. So, and what Jeff was talking about was because they're manual and not power assist, when you go through the rocks, you don't get that jerky, right, every time your foot barely touches the pedal.
Way less sensitive.
Way less sensitive.
Way easier, just a double foot at a constant speed.
Smooth.
It's
Yes.
nice.
Yes.
Makes me want them.
So, yes, beside the fact that it helps to simplify the engine bay, you got a lot of heat with a lot of horsepower going on up here. So, yeah, you're just trying to get everything out of there.
Philip Harmon asked, where is your brake master cylinder on Terremoto?
Well, those are the masters there, and they're directly on the other side of the firewall.
Did
Okay.
you reinforce your firewall at all?
I did not.
Is the firewall covered in aluminum?
It is. I wasn't necessarily a fan of that. My at the time, Darren, who's my master fabricator here, wanted to cover the firewall, which I didn't understand because we had it all painted to match and everything. And but that's the way they wanted to do it. I think they were just trying to cover up the holes. And I don't know if you guys remember, this Jeep was originally built as a SEMA build, so it was all about being clean and hiding everything. And
I like it. I think it does look a lot cleaner.
it's clean, yeah, for sure.
Alex Israel said, I love how clean that engine bay is with the LS3 compared to mine with the 3.6.
Yeah,
Well, we eliminated a lot of wiring.
a lot of wiring, and if you notice, there's no battery, right?
Yeah.
I've got batteries in the back. They're under the back seat. We've really cleared, like I said, the power brakes are out of here. You just clean it all out, and you'd be amazed. It's easier to get in here and service it. Just everything about it is better.
Mary Burns is watching. Hi, Mary.
Mayor?
Heaven Guard says, guys, I'm close to having the LS3 finished and installed.
Nice.
Nice.
Nice. You're going to like it.
Tony's close too.
Wes Faringa's watching. Alan Alvarez just popped on.
Oh boy.
Nice.
Steve Roberts is watching. And we're all caught up on questions for now.
All right. Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, we have another guest over here. Sergeant Jeep Tommy's here.
Yeah,
Yeah. So how you doing?
I am slammed.
Yeah.
I'm slammed now that I'm 100% self-employed and no more corporate
Yeah.
engineer for Northrop
Yeah.
Aviation. I'm
So
slammed.
he's our local guy that we get parts from. You have a salvage yard.
I've got about 115 Jeeps in right now.
Wow.
Let me tell you how good Tommy is. I flopped at Trail Hero, busted my windshield frame at about, let's say, midnight.
Yeah.
The next morning at 8:30 a.m., Tommy drives by camp, honks his horn, and says, "Hey, Jeff, look in my truck bed. TJ windshield frame with glass."
Wow.
I always know whether it's TDS, Hammers, or now Trail Hero. Someone is going to wipe their stuff out.
Yep.
So I bring axle shafts, drive shafts. I was going to bring a JK frame, and come to find out, Dave from Synergy, his whole crew stops by my shop on the way back to San
To
Luis
get one?
to get one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So every time I go there, I always bring extra stuff because somebody's bound to wipe it out.
Yeah, I
Just
still
touch your
want to do a
social
tech talk out of your place because
We've
it's
got a lot.
cool.
We
I want to go
we
to
can-
that one. I've
yeah.
never been out there.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It's bad.
Everywhere I looked, I was like, "Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's a cool
Oh,
project."
that's like 40 Jeeps ago.
and there's even some where like you look at how smashed the Jeep is, you're like, "There's no way the guy survived this one."
But it does show like the myth of how like everyone's like Jeeps are dangerous. Jeeps are dangerous. I've got some that literally the frame rails are touching, and in the personnel compartment is fine. They've done so well with like crunch zones and like on the YGs and the TGs. You see those 3 little holes, right? That's there for a reason. There's
Yeah.
a lot of stuff that people don't understand. Jeeps are built very, very well, and it doesn't take but a set of rockers and a cage, and you're twice as safe in any of this stuff. There's a lot of safety things, and people always ask me like, what should be my first upgrade? I'm like, set of rocker sliders, and they're like, well, yeah, but I don't go hardcore wheeling. I said, you probably go hardcore driving when the guy in the Civic side swipes you. I was like, you'd be shocked. Like, I've gotten Jeeps in where the sides are wiped out, and it took nothing, and it's just 14-gauge sheet metal.
Right.
And your Jeep is salvaged out.
Yeah.
Versus if you put those set of rock sliders on there, you're good. They will bounce off, and you'll continue to your destination, and you can charge them $6.99 for a can of Krylon.
Right.
You're good to go.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, they're saying drop your info because lots of us have beaters and need some parts.
There you go.
To catch me on Facebook is Sergeant Jeep SGTJEEP.ca, and Instagram is just Sergeant Jeep SGTJEEP. Or just put Sergeant Jeep in Google; it'll pop up.
All
He's
right.
got everything.
you.
I use them
Yeah.
about twice a year.
Yeah.
You got a frame waiting.
And it turned out I needed parts today, and he wanted to pick up some parts from
Yeah,
here.
yeah,
so
it's always
it was perfect.
horse
timing.
trading back and forth
Yeah.
all the time. Yeah.
Good stuff.
All right, should we see who this guy is and what's your name, bud?
Oh yeah, we got.
Brighton,
Do you have a Jeep?
yeah.
What kind?
LJ,
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're doing LJ. Yeah, we're going to be doing. I got a Jeep in. It just had a G2 axle. It had RCVs, reeds. It was burned, but just the front was totally safe. So we're going to put that in there, and then we're going to put a JT rear axle truss and put that in there. 'Cause,
nice.
I mean, it's
You'll be
wide
styling.
Yeah. We just put a motor in it, a training in it. What did we put in it?
new oil pan.
Oh no, we still have to do it. That was from TD. That was from High Desert Roundup. That's why we still got to do an oil pan. We did the trans pan.
That's right. I remember
Oh,
that.
yeah.
So we got some stuff to do.
Yeah.
As long as he's good in school, that thing's gonna be rad. And plus, I get to build an LJ and have an excuse.
There you
Yeah.
go. There you go.
Because my JK is bigger than LJ.
And you're coming out to the turkey run.
I am. The JK won't be ready. I'm going out to Phoenix in 2 weeks to check on it. It's very close. He says the end of the month. I'm like itching so bad.
Yeah.
But I'll bring the Gladiator, except not as stock this time. The whole bottom side should be aluminum instead of coming down resolution and slamming everything down.
Hey, we got a lot of Jeeps down resolution. last
Yeah.
Stock 392.
Yeah. So that was pretty
I
good.
have those your first edition rock sliders on that thing, 250 wall. I've landed Like when I land on that thing, everyone turns around and I'm like,
To land a plane on that thing.
yeah,
Yeah, they're solid.
yeah. The turkey run's a good time. We are definitely coming out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and for those of you watching, even if you can't make it this time, plan on it for next year. It's one of the better events that we do.
Same week every year.
Every year. Yep. So,
Philip Harmon asked, do you run one master for the front and one for the rear on Terremoto? How does that work?
I do. There's a balance bar in between, so I can change the proportion of how much the front or rear works. And I want to say that's a Tilden
Yeah.
balance bar that's in there.
I think most of it is. isn't it?
Yeah, that says CNC on it. So, but we morphed together a bunch of stuff, and remember, this is like back in 2010. So, yeah, it works great. Like, there's nothing like it. I can tell you
It's
that.
pretty precise though, right? Don't you need a lot of measurements?
Yeah, and if I know I put a lot of information on my gallery for Terremoto, like I've listed the headers and all kinds of stuff. I'd be surprised if even the master cylinders weren't on there. So if they're not, just message me and I can tell you what size everything is.
Okay, and then Don Cars asked, how did you run the battery cables through the firewall? Where did you run them? Through the center console or on the side? Determining how to do it on my tracer build.
Yeah, so what do they call those? Bulkheads. So you buy, they come in red and black, and you drill a hole, and it isolates the power from the sheet metal that you bolted it through. And you can't see any right here, but yeah, where the batteries are, I run that all the way up through into our center console where I have a master power switch. That way I can disable everything if something happens. Then from the power switch, I run some cables up to the front, and they land right over here. And then I bring the rest of the power up to the winch and the alternator. So, but yeah, those bulkheads, you can find them. They're even on Amazon, believe it or not. So
Yeah. If you email me, I can send you links to the ones I used.
that like Summit or Jegs or something.
Yeah, Summit, I think they're-
there's plenty of them out there. They work
Ron
great.
Francis or something.
So, but you need to run big cable. Like our guy that does our wiring, he likes like one.
One on.
Yeah. So you can use welding wire or whatever. It's just big stuff.
Yeah.
So
Jeff Holland asked, has GenRight done a JL Diesel Elite frame?
we have not. We have not.
Don't know that we will.
I don't. Yeah. I don't know.
And Dennis Sargent asked, what's your favorite alternator? That one looks trick.
Okay, so this is from DC Power. I've had really good luck with these. This is what we run on the race car. You're running something.
I run
different.
Mechman, and I've had great luck with that. That's what Jamie's running as well.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
amp is that?
I don't know. It's the highest. Like when I go in, I tell them, that I don't know. Does it say anything on it right there?
It says DC power.
Oh, that
Yeah.
is on the side.
So
it doesn't
It
say
obviously depends on how many accessories and everything else you're
yeah,
running.
yeah.
And if you call one of these companies,
Yeah.
they will talk to you about
Oh, yeah.
alternators more than you ever thought was possible,
Yeah.
and they will make sure you get the right amperage.
Yeah, for sure. So it helps for you to have a list of all the stuff you're running, so that they can get you the right thing. Because basically you have to produce more power than you're using. So like in my case, I've got 2 fans pulling 30 amps on the radiator. Then I've got one in the back pulling 20 more amps. Plus, if you use your winch or you just get everything running.
I'll see it on some Jeeps I have come in, and they'll literally have the stock Mopar, alternator, and they don't have LEDs, they have halogens, they have an old winch, they have all these accessories in a system. I'm like, you are asking for trouble on the trail.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
something turns on and everything dims
Dims,
down.
yeah.
And then your wiring starts getting hot, all your leads start getting hot,
Yep.
and then I can't imagine why my Jeep burned down.
Yeah.
I've literally seen it all. All the bad decisions, I have examples of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, all these companies, Mechman, DC Power, they don't just make them for OSs; they make them for your factory JK,
Yeah,
JLU
yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
So if you're running fans or a lot of lights or something,
Yeah.
definitely something worth looking into.
Yeah, for sure. And one of the things when you get an upgraded alternator is not only do they produce more power, but they put better bearings in them. So you're getting a better quality bearing, and then it just doesn't fall apart.
There's like the billet housing.
Yeah, that one
That's
is.
a dope album too.
It's fancy.
That's that race car stuff.
Well, it was the SEMA build. It had to match the aluminum.
Yeah.
But once upon a time, this is all polished. Those days are long
Well, that's
gone.
why it's like this. He's getting ready to get the toothbrush out, polish it again.
Don't call me for that.
We'll get Jamie to help.
Yeah.
Is the body and engine harness separate on Terremoto? Who's go-to company for them?
Well, so I had that all custom done. So the engine harness is a Holley, right? Because I'm running the Holley Dominator. You can just buy their standard harness. It's fine. It's all labeled. It's easy to use. And even if you end up with a little extra wire, you just gather it up and zip tie it off. It's not a big deal. Then the body harness I had done custom, and that's I'm running a Motec, and the Motec is, and this is not the same Motec that's in Las Vegas. This is the actual Motec that's in Australia, and they make the display and the power distribution module. So this is the same stuff we run in the race car, because what happens is it's all solid state. There's no relays. So when I'm running a fan, if something happens, and I mean a blade comes apart or the motor burns up or a stick gets in there, you'll get something to pop up on the display that'll say, there's a problem with this. It'll turn yellow. It'll stop it. And if it can't restart it, it'll turn red. So then you have the choice to either get out and investigate, or if you're heading to the next pit stop, you can have the crew check it out. But in my case, I've got everything redundant. So I've got, double fans, double batteries, double everything.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to, if you haven't met me, I don't like to stop. So
Well, another thing it does really cool is, can't you set priority?
you can set priority, and while you're driving, you can also watch what's happening, right? So you can page through and see that, hey, the fuel pump that normally pulls 8 amps, right, is now pulling 11, 12, 13, right? So what that tells me is it's about to die, right? Because they start pulling more power as they're coming apart, right? Mm-hmm. So same on a fan, same on, all this stuff. So I can see how much amperage the alternator's putting out. I can see where my volts are. If any of that stuff's dropping, then what Jeff's talking about is it starts to prioritize. So it'll shut off all the non-essential stuff and keep the vehicle actually moving. So it's pretty cool.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
Aaron Howard said, can't wait for the turkey run. Are you going to drop a pin when you get there for the camping location?
Yeah, so pretty easy. If you've ever been there, when you're going down Boone Road, as soon as you pass the bridge, we're going to be on the left. So there's a bridge that goes over a sand wash, and we will be directly on the left. We'll have flutter flags and all kinds of stuff.
Big motorhome that says GenRight.
Yeah, pretty hard to miss. Pretty hard to miss.
Okay.
So I'll have my big enclosed trailer there, so pretty good billboard. And if you show up at night, I'll put a light on the side of the motorhome, or we can get one up on our flag. I fly
That'd
a yellow
probably
flag.
be the biggest camp right past the bridge. Literally the biggest
yeah.
camp on your
Yeah,
left.
just
Like,
turn left and say, "Where's Tony?"
Okay,
or "Where's
yeah.
GenRight?" And they'll
for the
know.
campfire.
Everybody will know. I'm gonna bring that little A-frame sign to put out at the road too, so people will know
Okay.
where to turn.
Yeah. Yeah, we usually have at least one out there.
Yeah.
Just gets so blended in by the
I
time
know.
in the camp.
We're all caught up on questions.
And we're doing pretty good. We got about 5 minutes left.
Do you
so
wanna
if
do
guys
the-
have any more?
We
Our
should-
giveaway?
We should start taking bets as to what time you fall asleep at the campfire each night.
Oh,
I've already told her I'm not staying out late.
yeah, right.
High Desert Roundup, it was during the raffle.
Yeah,
There's picture obvious.
Yeah.
There's picture evidence of that.
Yeah.
Brighton goes, Dad, look behind us. Tony's asleep.
Yeah, like 7 p.m.
I wanted to be there, but I was also tired.
They're in spirit.
Yeah.
Always so much steam.
Yeah.
You wanna do
we have
our-
another K&N gift card, right?
Yeah, we have
All
our
right.
giveaway. It's right there.
Where's our gift card? So we have, this is a $100 K&N gift card. And our question is, how many times has the GenRight RV been wrapped? So,
First one to answer.
first one to answer. It's the $100 gift card. So,
While they answer, what was your favorite rig at SEMA? That FJ with the tank track belly pan blew my mind, said Dennis Sargent.
that thing was definitely cool.
So I met the builder, one of the main builders of that, in the best top booth. That guy's like 24, 25. He's a big like BMW. So he I didn't even know. He's just like, I was like, did you see this? And he was like, yeah, I built it. And I didn't think anything of it. I thought he was joking. And then Fred turned and goes, he's the one that built that. I'm like, dude, rad for him.
Yeah, they said it has like a Toyota NASCAR
It's got that
motor.
NASCAR spec motor
Yeah.
out of one of the cup cars in it.
Yeah.
The tracks at the bottom don't work. So
It's
there was
cool
a
back there.
little, the guy that was in charge of that whole build, not a car guy. He's a marketing guy.
Right.
So there's some parts to it that aren't what it seems, but all in all, the paint is amazing.
It's amazing.
The amount of body work they kept on it to make it an FJ45, incredible. The 42s worked on it. That thing caught my eye. But
Yeah.
there was a lot of people do the whole there's no front drive shaft Bluetooth, talk a lot of trash on SEMA. And I even posted something up about that white J10 if you saw it. It was atrocious. It had the track bar was like this long. So if it ever hit a bump, the whole axle would shoot out the passenger side.
Yeah.
But the amount of like world-class fabrication in that place is
way up.
absolutely incredible.
Yes.
And you can, like, I love all kinds of cars, whether it be Jeeps, rat rods. The amount of ideas you can pull off a Mustang or a Camaro or a Fairlane and bring it over to the Jeep stuff, like, it's limitless. You can just, ideas after ideas. And there's
Yes.
so much ingenuity there. It's incredible.
Creativity.
Oh, it's
yeah, for
incredible.
sure. For sure.
Okay, what's the correct answer?
The correct answer, well, it started as yellow, then it went to
Well, what-
Falcon. Then it
Are
went
we
to
doing
Yokohama,
rewrap? Because
to Yokohama, and now Mickey Thompson.
so if you knew tire sponsors,
So the answer is
Black.
4. Okay. The person who got 4 first was Mark Lawrence.
Nice.
Congrats,
Nice. And,
Mark.
By the way, very common question I get asked is how much does it cost to wrap it? To wrap the RV and trailer is $20,000. It is not cheap.
That stuff is, yeah.
Yeah.
It's getting incredible how much it's cost to wrap
Yeah.
stuff now. And if you go to SEMA and see all those demonstrations, you'll know exactly why it costs so much.
Yeah.
Some of those cars, they literally blow the entire car apart to do it correctly.
Yes, yes.
Not the guy down
Yeah,
the
to
street
get
that's
it
got a
all
bunch of
around,
they
yeah.
took the headlights out,
Yeah.
and sometimes you really have to go up to it
To
even see it.
That's right.
It's come a long
Yeah.
way since the early 2000s on
Yeah.
the wrap. It's incredible.
Yeah, I think the first guy that wrapped the RV when it was yellow, which by the way was my favorite because you could see the thing from outer space.
Yellow, imagine that.
They did the best job, and they took so much time to get it like, on every handle and everything.
Steve Bird said my house wasn't even 20K. It's not true, Steve.
Yeah, it's just that kind of stuff is expensive.
He's so funny.
It's one of those my friends can do it cheaper. I will know.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, that's going to conclude the show. Thanks everybody for watching, and we'll be back next Wednesday. I don't even know what we're talking about next Wednesday, but
we'll know Tuesday.
it'll be good.
It'd be great.
Whatever it is.
Well, maybe we'll be able to fire this up.
Oh, I'm sure this
So,
better be running.
we'll
by
be doing
then.
donuts in the parking lot in this thing. Tune in.
All right, everybody. See you next time.